Our planet is warming at an alarming rate. The consequences are dire and far-reaching. From extreme weather events to rising sea levels, the impacts of climate change are already being felt worldwide. The scientific consensus is clear. Human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, are the primary drivers of this crisis. The urgency of the situation cannot be overstated. We are at a crossroads, and the choices we make today will determine the fate of our planet for generations to come. Addressing climate change requires a global effort, one that transcends national borders and political ideologies. International cooperation is paramount. We must work together to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, adapt to the changing climate, and build a more sustainable future for all. The stakes are high, but the time for action is now. In the face of this global challenge, climate change summits have emerged as crucial platforms for international dialogue and action. These gatherings bring together world leaders, policymakers, scientists, business leaders, and civil society representatives to address the climate crisis on a global scale. The history of climate change summits dates back to the early 1990s, with the adoption of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or UNFCCC, in 1992. Since then, these summits have evolved into complex and highly anticipated events, shaping the global climate agenda. From the landmark Kyoto Protocol in 1997 to the Paris Agreement in 2015, climate change summits have witnessed both breakthroughs and setbacks. They serve as a barometer of global commitment to tackling climate change and provide a platform for accountability and progress assessment. Climate change summits bring together a diverse array of stakeholders, each playing a critical role in shaping the global response to the crisis. At the forefront are national governments, responsible for setting national climate policies and negotiating international agreements. Their leadership and commitment are crucial for driving global action. Scientists and researchers provide the scientific evidence and data that underpin climate negotiations. Their expertise is essential for understanding the complexities of climate change and informing policy decisions. Business leaders are increasingly recognizing the risks and opportunities presented by climate change. Their innovation and investment are crucial for developing and deploying clean technologies. Civil society organizations, including environmental groups, indigenous communities, and youth activists, play a vital role in advocating for ambitious climate action and holding leaders accountable. Climate change summits have yielded significant milestones in the global effort to combat climate change. These include landmark agreements, ambitious pledges, and groundbreaking initiatives. The Paris Agreement, adopted in 2015, stands as a testament to international cooperation. It unites nearly 200 countries in a common framework to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, with efforts to pursue a more ambitious target of 1.5 degrees Celsius. The Kyoto Protocol, adopted in 1997, was the first international treaty to set legally binding emission reduction targets for developed countries. While it faced challenges in implementation, it paved the way for future climate agreements. Beyond formal agreements, climate change summits have also witnessed significant pledges from countries and businesses alike. These include commitments to achieve net zero emissions, phase out coal-fired power plants, and invest in renewable energy sources. Section 5. The Price of Preservation: Climate Finance and Technology Transfer. Addressing climate change requires substantial financial resources, particularly for developing countries that are most vulnerable to its impacts. Climate finance, therefore, has become a central issue in climate negotiations. Developed countries have committed to mobilizing $100 billion per year by 2020 to support developing countries in their climate actions. However, progress towards this goal has been slow, and the issue of climate finance remains a point of contention. Technology transfer, the sharing of clean technologies and expertise from developed to developing countries, is another crucial aspect of global climate action. It can help accelerate the transition to a low-carbon economy and enhance resilience to climate impacts. Section 6. Bridging the gap from promises to action. While climate change summits have yielded important agreements and commitments, a significant gap remains between rhetoric and action. Implementing these commitments and translating them into tangible results is the defining challenge of our time. One of the main obstacles is the lack of political will. Despite the urgency of the crisis, some countries remain reluctant to take ambitious climate action, often due to short-term economic interests or political considerations. Another challenge is the complexity of the issue itself. Addressing climate change requires a fundamental transformation of our energy systems, transportation networks, and consumption patterns. This requires coordinated efforts from all sectors of society. Furthermore, there is a need for enhanced transparency and accountability mechanisms to track progress towards climate goals and ensure that countries are fulfilling their commitments. Section 7. The Equity Conundrum, Climate Justice and a Fair Transition. Climate change is not just an environmental issue, it is also a matter of social justice. The impacts of climate change are not felt equally, with developing countries and marginalized communities often bearing the brunt of the consequences. Climate justice recognizes that those who have contributed the least to the problem are often the most vulnerable to its effects. It calls for a fair and equitable approach to addressing climate change, ensuring that the needs and rights of all people are considered. A just transition to a low-carbon economy requires ensuring that workers and communities dependent on fossil fuel industries are not left behind. It involves creating new job opportunities, investing in retraining programs, and providing social safety nets. Section 8. The Road Ahead, Navigating the Challenges of Implementation. The road ahead is fraught with challenges but also with opportunities. To effectively address the climate crisis, we must overcome implementation gaps, secure adequate financing, and ensure a just and equitable transition. Strengthening international cooperation is paramount. Countries must work together to raise ambition, enhance transparency, and provide support to developing nations. Investing in research and development is crucial for developing and deploying clean technologies at scale. This includes renewable energy, energy efficiency, carbon capture and storage, and sustainable transportation. Empowering individuals, businesses, and communities to take action is essential. From adopting sustainable lifestyles to investing in green businesses, everyone has a role to play in the transition to a low-carbon future. Section 9. Beyond the Summits. The Power of Collective Action. While climate change summits provide crucial platforms for international cooperation, the real work happens beyond the negotiating tables. Addressing this global challenge requires collective action from all sectors of society. Governments must implement ambitious climate policies, invest in clean technologies, and promote sustainable practices. Businesses have a responsibility to reduce their environmental footprint, innovate, and adopt sustainable business models. Individuals can make a difference through their everyday choices, from reducing their carbon footprint to supporting businesses and organizations committed to sustainability. Collective action, no matter how small, can create a ripple effect and drive systemic change. Section 10. A Call to Arms. The Role of Individuals, Businesses, and Governments. The climate crisis is a call to arms for humanity. It is a test of our collective will, our ingenuity, and our compassion. Addressing this challenge requires a fundamental shift in our values, our priorities, and our way of life. Individuals have the power to make sustainable choices in their daily lives, from reducing their energy consumption to adopting a more plant-based diet. They can also use their voices and their votes to demand action from their leaders. Businesses have a responsibility to operate sustainably, reduce their environmental impact, and invest in clean technologies. They can also play a leading role in driving innovation and creating green jobs. Governments must create the enabling environment for a low-carbon future by implementing ambitious climate policies, investing in clean technologies, and promoting sustainable practices. Section 11. Our Shared Destiny. Securing a Sustainable Future. The climate crisis is a defining challenge of our time, but it is not insurmountable. By working together, we can create a more sustainable and equitable future for all. The science is clear, the urgency is real, and the solutions are within reach. What is needed now is the political will, the collective action, and the unwavering commitment to secure a livable planet for generations to come. Our shared destiny hangs in the balance. Let us rise to the occasion and create a future